again, beautiful people. Welcome back. 2022 is coming to an end, which means I have been putting a lot of thinking into what my plans are for this coming year. Now, one of the things that I kind of wanted to reincorporate in my journaling routine is gratitude. So I have dabbled with gratitude journaling on and off for a few years. I haven't really been super consistent with it. So I kind of just wanted to show you guys like some of the older ways that I would keep track of gratitude in my undated insert, and then kind of move into what my plans are for this coming year. So going through my older completed inserts, I found this chunky monkey back from 2018. And this is, if you're curious, an A5 Enigma from the Taroko Shop Design. It is in the 68 GSM. It is the thicker of the notebooks. I think they come in, you can get it like super chunky or like half the size. I went full on chunk. When I first started in the A5, chunky inserts were like my absolute favorite thing. So I think I have like 2 or 3 years worth of like super chunk. All right, so this, like I said, it's undated, which meant that I had to work out my own layout for this. So the earliest attempt that I found was back in August. So I split up my gratitude in like 2 pages. So I did one column with the date, the weather, and then here is where I kept like positive things. My goal was at least one thing that I was grateful for, thankful for, something that made me smile, just something really great about that day. And yeah, so I attempted with at least one. And then on the opposite side, I did a little doodle. I was like really interested in the Hobonichi like draw my day style, but I couldn't figure out how people were able to fill out an entire page of drawings for the day. So I just wanted like a little snippet, a little sample, I guess. So I did just like mini drawings, and I really enjoyed how this looked. And I attempted, you can see, to keep up with it, but it didn't work out for me. And I think I just get into these like phases sometimes when I journal where I just don't for a while, and I think that's what happened here. But yeah, I really liked how this looked. So this was probably like the only attempt I made in 2018, and then for a while I just didn't do gratitude. It wasn't until, let's see if I can find it, 2020 where I attempted again. And I think a big reason why I tried again was because Courtney Diaz from Little Raven Ink, I think she started to use, or she was doing videos at the time of like gratitude in her weeks, in the weekly layout of her Hobonichi cousin. And because I have undated inserts, it's kind of like my thing. I can't really do daily inserts. I decided to replicate that layout on my own just to kind of get a feel for it, to see if I liked it or not. So this was like my first attempt. I did the three things at least, or I attempted, and I think that was like, I tried it a few more times. Like, yeah, I attempted a few other months this year. That might have been it. Anyway, so yeah, and I kind of starting to get into the groove here. I started using up these stickers from Happy Planner. They usually come in like a full sheet, and it's got like 3 different colors. and I cut them all down, and that's what I was using as like little bullet points. And I really like that. I really like that this layout kind of gave way to let me use up stickers and little like bits and bobs I had on my desk. So when it came for 2021, I think? 2021, I actually did attempt to use a Hobonichi Cousin. I have a couple flip throughs all around my channel. This, I cut my Hobonichi Cousin into 3 separate inserts because it got to be just too bulky for me. And the first half I kept all of my months and the weeks. So this is 2021. And I went hard on the weeks layouts. I loved this so very much. I really, really liked putting new days, the dates, the days of the week, like using up these little happy planner stickers, and then using up like the smaller stickers that I would get from Sticky Club, and like I had a whole lot of like Korean diary stickers and like sticker flakes, and I just went all over the place with it. Like I just loved how this looked so very, very much. Probably like my favorite parts of my journal from last year. But yeah, I really, like I said, I feel like this kind of stuff just like really makes it easy to use up stickers, scraps, like leftover photos, anything like you just have lying around. And that's kind of how I did each layout. I just picked random bits that had similar color palettes and put it all together. It also gave me a chance to use up number stickers because I subscribe to a lot of people on Patreon, and every month I get new like number stickers from like 4 or 5 creators. So obviously I'm not going to use that many in a month, so it gave me an opportunity to use up all that stuff. And then it got a little difficult once I separated the insert, because then this wasn't attached to the current insert I was in. It was just kind of floating around, so I didn't use it as much. But yeah, so thinking about all of that, I realized that is kind of what I have been missing in my journal. So I went and I purchased a couple of new things. This is a new cover from Hand Stitched Leather Tee. It's in their agave leather. Yeah, I purchased this insert because I have been super in love with Hand Stitched Leather Tee. So I, of course, got this cover. And I decided to have it house my Our Studio for 2023. So I purchased this Our Studio kind of like I was experiencing FOMO. Like I know a couple people that I follow use an Our Studio, and Courtney Diaz uses hers, and it's so beautiful, like what she creates in it. And I kind of gave in and I bought the Our Studio. In hindsight, I wish that I had possibly gone another route, but I'll talk about that later. So yeah, this is my Our Studio. I did cover the cover with just a random sheet from the Flow Book for Paper Lovers for this year. Same thing here. This is a little image from Courtney Diaz that I cut down, and then this is also from the Flow Book for Paper Lovers. I already started decorating a little bit and getting it ready for the year. I've just been playing around with the paper, just kind of see like what I plan to use or how I plan to use this. So a couple of little things. I think the biggest thing for me that I want, my biggest goal for this is to use up things that I own. So like older stickers, collage bits that I haven't used up, photos. I just kind of want to like stuff this full of all of those things. This is from Hello Paper Cat, I think, over on Instagram. She has her own shop. I purchased a bunch of these Adventure Time stickers from her, I think on Black Friday a couple years ago, and I just like, they were lost in a pile of stickers that I haven't touched since I got them. So yeah, that's why my goal is to just like use up the stuff. Okay, so I'm sure you've noticed when I journal, I do like to have a photo a day as like a memory keeping photo a day for my monthly layouts. That is something that I'm going to continue in my actual like written journal. This is going to be a different play on that. So I'm still going to do a photo of day, but these photos are going to be something I'm grateful for, something that made me smile, or a favorite thing of mine. Like, it doesn't even have to relate to that day. So this layout isn't necessarily going to be as like a memory keeping tracker of sorts. It's really just going to be all positive, all grateful, all things that make me happy and smile. It's just all of the above. Like, so it's, you know, not going to be like, oh, I went to McDonald's, put a picture of McDonald's. No, it's going to be more of like, maybe I rediscovered a love for an old favorite supply of mine, or like maybe I went through my stash and I found a planner pouch that I forgot about that I loved. Kind of like my pen roll. Like, I forgot that I had made all these pen rolls and stuff during quarantine, and I recently found them and I've been in love with them all over again. So it's just going to be like rediscovering things that I love and just full of happiness. So that's kind of what this is going to be used for. Now on to the weekly planner. Now this is going to be a little bit of a challenge for me because I don't think I've ever had to journal in like boxes like this before. So I'm gonna, you know, see how that works out for me. But for this, it's essentially the same thing that I did in my Hobonichi weekly layouts, and the ones that I drew in my Undated. I'm gonna attempt to put 3 things that I'm grateful for, made me smile, etc., using these Happy Planner stickers as like the bullet points, or my Zig Cling Color dot markers. I do also kind of want to track the weather in here as well. And this is all going to be full of stickers, scraps, collage paper, markers. One of the things that I noticed about this particular insert while I was playing around with it and getting it ready for this year is that it doesn't necessarily hold wet medium that well. So the paper kind of, it absorbs everything. It's very porous, I guess. It absorbs whatever pigment you put on here, and it just, the paper itself kind of starts to wear down, if that makes sense. I'm not really sure what the right word is. But you'll know what I mean if you like get paper wet and you start seeing the pulp come off. That's kind of what this does. So this is just solely going to be collage, scraps, markers, all that stuff. And then these tabs are all from Courtney Diaz Little Raven ink. I tried not to buy anything for this just because, aside from the cover, because I do want to use up things. So these back pages kind of threw me for a loop. There are a few different layouts on this back side here, so I attempted to kind of work around that. So this first one, I plan to just put like YouTube videos, like dates of things that I put, just to kind of like have an overview over the year, like how many videos I put out and what kinds of videos. This section here is for my books. So I have mentioned it before, but I've really gotten right back into reading again. So I kind of just want to keep track of which ones I read to kind of find new favorite authors and stuff, just to kind of also see like how many books I am able to read. Here on this side, it's going to be movies that I watched in theaters. This is not movies at home or HBO or anything. This is like I actually went to a theater and which ones I saw. This next section is just going to be like a random catch-all of things like book releases, dates of book releases, upcoming events, vacations, new shows that are coming out, what day. There are a lot of animes coming out in 2023 that I want to keep track of. So just like random bits, essentially, just things that I'm looking forward to. Okay, so this section here, I do want to put photos of book covers of my favorite books that I've read in 2023, along with a couple of maybe quotes and reviews. I actually used to do this in, let me see if I have it. I used to do something like this in a Moleskine Expanded, where I did like little reviews of books. I did like the book cover, talked about it, quotes, notes and things. Also to kind of keep track of like characters, because sometimes I forgot different characters and stuff. But yeah, so wanna do that here. I think this is supposed to be like for business cards, is it? I think so. I don't know. Anyway, so favorite books, quotes and things is gonna go there. And then here I decided to do swatch pages on the blank layouts. So I swatched all of my Tombow collection, and you can see that it just kind of, there is ghosting. It looks like the paper just like sucked in all the pigment, so you can really see all the strokes, which I'm not a huge fan of. It's not as noticeable in the lighter colors, but the darker colors you can definitely see all the stroke marks and stuff, and I'm not a huge fan of that. So I mean, we'll see as the year goes, like if I change my mind, but as of right now, like I am not a huge fan of the paper quality for this. This insert kind of has like a rougher texture. It's not as smooth as like the Stayology paper, for example, or Tomoe River paper. It kind of reminds me of the Midori a little bit, which I also have somewhere. But a Midori insert, it's just not loving it just yet. And then I also swatched my Arteza to kind of, you know, this is also so I can see like what it looks like on this paper, because I do have these markers swatched in other inserts and other different types of paper, but I feel like the paper quality matters in terms of like what your product looks like on it. So whenever I get a new insert and it's a different kind of paper, I do like to re-swatch my stuff just so I can see how that performs on that insert. So I swatched the Arteza. And if you're curious how I made the little squares and the circles and stuff, I got this, this is like super old. It's from Jane Davenport. I think it came with like a washi folder thing. I don't 100% remember, but I know I got it at Michael's when they used to carry her stuff, but it's very old. But yeah, so that's what I used to make the little swatch circles and squares. Now this part, I wanted to do a favorite photo of the month. So something that I have started doing in my inserts is at the end of the year, I take the one photo, my favorite photo from every month, and I make a huge collage of it. And that kind of goes slapped in the back of my insert. So I kind of wanted to do the same thing, but I guess like individuals. So like January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August kind of thing. And then I could also write like in the bottom, like a little note of like what the photo is, or even in the box, like do maybe half or 2/3 of the box of a photo, and then write in just a quick explanation of what's going on in that picture. So favorite photo of each month for this part. And I still had extra pages left over with the same layout, so it took me a while, but I decided to use it to keep track of new supplies and then old supplies that have become my favorites. So what I mean by this is like most people in this craft, I feel like, or this hobby, we tend to consume a lot. We purchase a lot of new items, like they're, you know, the different fads and things, like we get caught into it and we buy new things. So I kind of wanted to keep track of new journaling, planning supplies, mainly journaling supplies, that come into or get added to my collection. So like if I get a new TWSBI Ego, photo of the pen will go there, what it is. If I get a new insert or a new journal cover, same thing here. So this way at the end of the year, I can kind of just see like what major items or what new items I've brought into my stash. And at the end of the year, I can evaluate if I liked it and if it was a good investment or not. So new supplies that come in, and then also I wanted to have a mix of older supplies that I rediscover and love. So like trying to think, what have I been using? Yeah, let's just say my Tombow markers, right? Like I've had Tombows for a long time and I never really use them as often. So like if it's something that I see myself using more of or a lot of in this year and I really, really like it, just put a picture of it. So yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to use these squares for, or these rectangles. Not a lot of them left, but I mean, we'll just see how it goes. Now this last section, I think obviously it's probably best to use as swatches. So I figured watercolor swatches, fountain pen ink, color pencils, I guess just like new things that come into my rotation, or just like I said, like old supplies that I'm loving. So this year I did swatch one watercolor just to kind of see what how the paper would react to it. It does crinkle. I mean, most paper does when you wet it, but I kind of feel like the paper just absorbs everything, and so it doesn't look as bright. But yeah, so that's what I plan to use those for, and that is it. So that is my current plan, my current gratitude plan for 2023. If you guys are deciding to do gratitude journaling this year, how do you plan on doing it? Are you adding it to your planner insert? Are you doing it in a separate journal? Is it with your regular journal? Are you just keeping like in a 5-year where you're doing it in? I'd love to hear how you guys are planning to do gratitude. But all right, everyone, with that, I will leave you. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. You all have a good one. Bye.